Welcome back to episode 52, and we're returning to the S Gilmore Story, and we're to the Manhattan Beach, specifically because of the fireworks, and this is part 5 of that story. And here is Manhattan Beach, one of the cards that was distributed to advertise the event, and it shows in very clear colour people running round. The place is on fire, and at the very back is Mount Vesuvius. Here's a reprint that I have. I apologize for the quality of this photograph. It's the last days of Pompeii on Manhattan Beach. On the right hand side it says Gilmore's Band. On the left hand side, the descriptive music. This was a new stage in entertainment. It was also a new stage in, I suppose, descriptive theatre would be very good. Very like your silent movies later on. No, the fireworks were not just fireworks as we say today. They were descriptions of an event that was going on. The year afterwards, in 1889, 1890, they had a new fireworks. It was called the Siege of Veracruz. And here is the actual publicity poster from that event. It's a wonderfully colourful poster. It gives you a great idea of the port of Veracruz in Mexico. And this is part, for those of you that don't know, the Siege of Veracruz was a 20-day siege during the Mexican-American War in March of 1847. A force of 12,000 led by General Winfield Scott landed 3 miles away from this port, and they took on the forces of 3,000 men in 3 forts guarding this place. General Morales was the Mexican general. And so all of these events, whether it was Pompeii and now Veracruz, were wondrous to the 19th century public. Here we have the Army Corps and Naval Brigade, correctly uniformed and accoutred mounted officers of the Mexican cavalry, making the event far more realistic than ever before. People absolutely love this. 5,000 people seated, an additional 15,000 people standing. And again, looking back at this, it's like as if they put on the poster on top of the original poster, and behind you see over Gilmore's Band name there, people sunbathing on the beach. And on the right you see the bathing pavilions where you could rent your bathing suits and so on, so forth. So this was a huge development. And in this case, of course, the Siege of Veracruz was an actual event that people would have read of in the war prior to the American Civil War. Here we see the triumphant success. P.S. Gilmore and his incomparable band. The following artists will assist, etc., in the great program. And it's really pushing this event. So each day Gilmore was playing 2 concerts. And then at the end of the concert, the band would form a proper procession, a proper military march to the actual pavilion for the fireworks. If you were standing outside the fireworks, of course you would see the fireworks, but you wouldn't see the story. You wouldn't see how the fireworks were blowing up, you wouldn't see the sequence, you wouldn't see the story. Now, here we have the next one from 1891. It's called The Paris Empire to Commune on the advertisements. However, it's really the Commune. What was the Commune? The Commune was an event that happened. Here's the wonderful poster, again done by Pains, with all the bridges of Paris, le Pont de Paris. In the distance, the two spires of the Notre Dame. You've got cavalry and so on and so forth. This was an event that happened basically at the end of the Franco-Prussian War, where the Republican Guard took over the city of Paris, and basically for just about 3 weeks, they held on to Paris, and they rebelled against the government of Paris because they were basically fed up with the way Paris, or I should say France, was being governed. The rebellion was eventually suppressed, and as many as 20,000 rebels, or I think they were called communards, were executed as a result. And ever since, Paris has been the home of radical developments in France. Again, this was only back in 1871, so this was in fairly recent times. And again, more advertisements of this event, and it was close to people's heart. They'd read about it in recent newspapers. And in both this and the siege, you saw on the posters there were large cannons. And it's important to remember that Gilmore, again, was equipped for all seasons. He had his own cannons on the lawns of the Manhattan Beach. And I'll show you them in a second as well. But there were cannons used as part of the actual performance in the, obviously firing blanks and so on. There's a cannon over Pane of London on the left of this advertisement here on this broadsheet. It was really a very innovative new form of theatrical event. Here's another advertisement. Again, grand concerts this afternoon and evening. So there's two concerts, and then you've got the Paris from Commune Commune event as well, the fireworks event as well. By 1892, we have Manhattan Beach, Gilmore's band still, but we've got Brock's now have taken over. Pains have basically decided to take their shows on the road, and they would be highly successful in that regard. And they would pack out theatres all over America with specifically Pompeii's story. Pompeii was especially important because of the book. And by the way, I mentioned a second ago about those cannons. To the right of the cannons, you see basically very close to the promenade, that very high building there, not the circular one. That's where Gilmore would have played. That's the back of the bandstand. Of course, you got the promenade and so on and so forth there. But look at these two tickets here. These two tickets will gain you entry to a special performance next week where we will talk specifically about a performance of the last day of Pompeii, which has never been told and never been written about. So, click subscribe and like, and hope to hear you or see you or whatever next week. Great having you, and thank you very much for your time. Bye now.